Good day and welcome to Miss Valley Entertainment News. My name is Dredd. Please bear with me. It is early in my morning. I have not been up for very long, but I saw this video and thought I need to get this out to as many people as possible and just do a reaction to it. So I'm calling this Risk in Gaming, for a reaction to legendary drops. It's it is a video about taking risks in gaming, but it's also really about what's right with gaming and what's wrong with gaming. And Legendary Drops does a beautiful job at bringing this content, um, and putting it in a way that really makes sense for the consumer. So let's take a listen to what Legendary Drops has to say on their video, which they titled "Baldur's Gate 3 and Armored Core 6 Proved the Industry Wrong." Let's take a listen, and I'll give my reaction to this.
Positive reception isn't something we regularly see in the gaming community. We tend to have really high expectations for the games that are released, as we should, because we're the ones that are actually staking our money for the product. However, it's relatively infrequent that developers ever meet our expectations, and even more rare that we celebrate in their successes.
And isn't that actually really sad too? That it's not very often that a developer of a game actually meets our expectations. The expectations we have for the game when it comes out. Now, some do, and some people keep their expectations lowered, so that'll help you enjoy the game more when it comes out too. But some people just have high expectations. They think, I want my game up here. It's so pumped when it comes out, and the game comes out, and the game is down here. And it may not be a bad game, but the expectations were high for it. And why are the expectations high? Because we know what the industry is capable of. And if the industry doesn't meet that, we feel disappointment. We feel cheated. We feel like we didn't get what we deserved, right? It's a sad thing when that happens.
I can count on one hand how many studios I feel like I can always buy a game from, enjoy it, and then also celebrate in their successes.
That is true.
FromSoft, Relogic, Larian Studios, and Square Enix's Creative Business Unit 3 are the very first ones that come to mind.
Those are some good ones.
Now, I'm sure it's the same for you. There's probably plenty of companies that you feel really comfortable buying games from, and I'm sure there's a few that you guys can.
Are there a lot of gaming companies you feel comfortable buying games from? As a consumer, how do you feel about that? I know that there are a few companies out there that, yes, I will go ahead and pre-order a game from, but not many anymore. Not many. Even sometimes with franchises that I know and love, I won't pre-order a game. I will wait till it comes out and see what the reviews are like and what the video clips are like and what people are saying about it, and then make my decision onto whether I'm going to buy it. Because games are not cheap anymore. Yeah, you can get them on sale on Steam or whatever. Maybe you've got a Game Pass and you can get them off of there. But for most of us, we spend a large chunk of money on some of the games that we really want to enjoy. And if we don't get that full enjoyment out of it, again, we're going to feel a little bit cheated, aren't we? That's just human nature. But yeah, for the most part, for my gaming, I will now wait. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Dragon Age games. But with all the trouble BioWare has gone through, with all the failures they've had recently, I am very, very worried for that beloved franchise of Dragon Age. And the Dragon Age 4 Dreadwolf comes out, I will not be buying it until it's been out for probably a few months. And then I will see what did it meet any expectations? Did it not meet expectations? Did it take any risk? Did it not take any risk? Did the risk pay off or not? Are people talking good things about the game or not? Is the story good? Are the animations good? Is the fighting good? Does it have a payoff? Is it boring? Do people not like it? Are people fleeing off it already after a couple months? These are all the things I want to know and will go into my decision because I no longer trust BioWare. They've not earned my trust lately. In fact, they've earned the opposite of my trust. So this happens. Our faith in gaming companies goes up and down depending on what that company does, and sometimes depending on what the industry is doing around them as well. What do you think?
Can name down in the comments below. However, more times than not, these companies aren't the ones that own the largest market share in the gaming industry, nor are they the ones that own some of the largest IPs or the most popular IPs that are out there. So the question really becomes, what separates these companies that we enjoy so much, the companies that we don't mind celebrating their successes from the companies that we tend to villainize? I recently read an article from GameIndustry.biz titled, Bandai Namco Elden Ring Success Will Truly Widen Armored Core 6's Audience.
Now, I've not played Armored Core 6, but I've heard about the popularity of it and the success of it, and kudos. Will I ever play Armored Core 6? It doesn't really look like a game that actually, appeals to me. But you know what? If at some point I can pick it up cheap, then I might give it a go. That's just my feeling on it. Sometimes games pique our interest, sometimes not. I did play a little bit of Elden Ring. Elden Ring is a game that is, I would say, not within my niche. Like, it nibbles around the edge of the niche I like, but the fantasy stuff. But it's a very, very unforgiving and difficult game, and that's not the kind of thing I usually play. Just because I do not have the reaction time and the patience as an older gamer, I just don't. And never really have had that either. So I didn't grow up with gaming consoles and gaming computers in my life until I was already an adult. So, yeah. So I appreciate Elden Ring for what it's done and what it's done for the industry. Do I want to see a whole lot of games like Elden Ring come out? Not particularly, because it's not going to appeal to me. Like again, that very difficult kind of game doesn't really appeal to me. Same as games that are extremely grindy, like Diablo 4 type games. They don't really grind, and difficulty don't appeal to me in gaming. But they do to a lot of people, and that's awesome. And I completely applaud Elden Ring's success. I think it's a beautiful looking game. I have played some of it. It's just not something that myself as a gamer will want to go back to. But anyways, on we go.
The article reads, Elden Ring's success has paved the way for Armored Core 6 to launch on a much bigger scale, Bandai Namco has told GameIndustry.biz. Talking to us at Gamescom, Bandai Namco Europe CEO Arnaud Muller mentioned the publisher's heightened ambition for Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, releasing tomorrow. He attributed the shift of expectations to a combination of From Software's increased popularity following the incredible success of Elden Ring and the developer's accumulated experience leading to a new dimension for Armored Core, 10 years after the last entry in the series. And just mentioning the success of Elden Ring doesn't really put things into perspective. FromSoft's audience has consistently grown since the spawning of Demon's Souls. Each year, the franchise gains more popularity as the studio grows more consistent with each consecutive release.
So a studio getting better in popularity as the years go on because each of their games gets a little bit better, and they have consistency in the attempt to make good games, and most of the times probably meeting the expectations, right, or above. So it should be, if a company does that, so they should be getting more fans, so they should be getting more sales, so they should be getting more accolades. Very much so.
Each game getting better, except for Dark Souls 2, all culminating in the release of Elden Ring.
Except for Dark Souls 2.
Starting with Demon's Souls, a game that was heavily criticized by publishers outside of Japan and even inside Japan, with Sony's president calling it an extremely bad game. However, this extremely bad game went on to sell 1 million copies worldwide by 2011. Bloodborne then followed suit with 2 million copies. Dark Souls, 5.5 million worldwide. Dark Souls 3, 10 million copies. And Elden Ring shattering that with 20 million copies sold.
Nice.
The article continues with Muller saying, quote, "This is an opportunity for us to truly widen the audience of Armored Core games. My ambitions are not on par with Elden Ring, but our ambitions are way bigger than previous Armored."
So they're looking at it like, hey, we're here doing Elden Core games. Elden Ring did really well for the same studio, right? Same head studio. So it raises our ambitions, right? We're not saying we're going to be now our Armored Core on par with Elden Ring, but our ambitions are greater. Our sights are set higher. We're looking higher. We're going to take some risks, right? In our game. We're going to push our boundaries. We're going to draw more people in. I like it. I like it. More studios should be like this.
Armored Core games. Thanks to Elden Ring, FromSoft has become a seal, a guarantee of quality, and therefore people will see that the Metacritic of this game is great, that it's challenging but very rewarding, and say, I want to try that game.
Cool.
The reviews started appearing online during our conversation at Bandai Namco's Gamescom booth, with Armored Core 6 currently sitting at a very positive Metascore of 87. Now, I think this is a completely deserved perspective. I think these are deserved expectations that if you put out great games, games that are valued by the players, games that are obviously well received, and you stay consistent, and you earn this seal of quality where players always expect solid games from you, then yeah, you should be able to take a risk and try to build the audience of some of the other game franchises that you have.
But where does that fail? Anthem. Anthem's a great example of this. You've got a studio that's very good at a lot of things. They decide, we've been very, very good at fantasy games, and, they did some sci-fi too with Mass Effect and stuff. We're going to go over here now, and we're going to do this type of game, Anthem. And people were like, Are you sure? It was a little bit of a lukewarm reaction to it. And really, there was an absolute utter failure, and they eventually, abandoned the game. I mean, they released it, but they abandoned it. And for a live service game, when you abandon it, it's dead. But they weren't taking an existing franchise that they already had. They should have put all of their marbles into let's go back and make the best Mass Effect game. I mean, they had Mass Effect and Dragon Age. Why did they need to bring in something else entirely? Why? If it works, excellent. Then they're a success. But when it doesn't, you're the opposite of a success. You're now a failure. You've now failed with the game. And now what people think of your company has gone way down. Now, maybe that means they have less expectations, but there's also less patience with them for their next game, which should be Dragon Age 4. And if they don't get these things right, what happens? Your company is going under is what's going to happen. You've sank your company by making the wrong decision. Again, this is talking about we're going to take one of our lesser games in our overall banner of games, but we have a franchise with it still, kind of thing, and we're going to raise it up to the level of some of our other games. That's different than we're just going to take a stab at something we've never ever done before kind of game and see if we can make it work. And let's be honest, it was a live service game because they were chasing the bucks. They wanted to reach into your pocket for Anthem, and they wanted to take your bucks. That's what their focus was on, and that's why it failed.
Other games that you want to come out with in the future. The only thing that I don't like about this is the idea that consumers put a lot of weight on Metacritic scores. Now, this is my personal opinion, but I only feel like Metacritic is more of a post-purchase justification. When I play a game or when I pick a game that I'm going to play, I look at it first, I see if I want to buy it, and then I buy it and I try it for myself. I think this is something more similar to, I don't know, like wanting your favorite content creator or streamer to play your favorite game. You're going to find out whether you like it or not. And I can't see a lot of consumers really putting a lot of value in Metacritic scores. We just want everybody else to celebrate the games that we enjoy. That's the only reason we ever pay attention to whether these games get...
We do want other people to enjoy the games we enjoy, for sure. And that's why we get into such online arguments with others who either disliked the game we liked or liked the game that we disliked. But I do think a lot of people pay attention to the scores. A lot of people do not rush out to buy a game first day and play it. And I think the more failures there are and the more people realize that there are money grab games out there, and that's all they are, a lot of them, the more people will also pull back and say, no, I'm going to wait and see what some of these scores are, what some of these reviews are before I purchase a game. Because it's my hard-earned money going out there, and there's not a lot of money to go around anymore. So scores, I think, are more important than legendary drops things.
Good scores or not. Muller continues with, this is a big step up in this franchise. We're not going to be able to match Elden Ring numbers, but we will way surpass what Armored Core previous games have done. We have a great game on our hands. The gameplay, The battle system is very loyal to what FromSoft fans are used to, so we really want to take this IP further in the relationship with FromSoft.
Nice.
My expectations is that people who have discovered their games via Elden Ring will enjoy Armored Core. Now, this is when we start to see that separation take place between the game companies that we love and trust and the game companies that are in the upper echelons of AAA that just can't seem to please us any longer. And the difference is perspective. See, they're looking at the industry and they're looking at the products they create in a completely different way, where FromSoft is looking at the Souls genre as a way for them to be able to refine a product over time, something to build confidence with the consumer and also build trust with the quality of their game.
Confidence and trust are important.
We see a solid evolution from Demon Souls all the way up to Elden Ring. They are near perfected. I can't wait to see what they put out next.
The quality gets
they saw this as an avenue for them to improve, and then later be able to take risks by trying to usher that same community towards other games that they offer. Now, that's not the same with AAA. AAA is very risk-averse. They let everybody else experiment. Oh, somebody made a looter shooter? Well, we're going to try that. Somebody made a battle royale? Well, we'll put that in our game. However, they're never the ones that are actually blazing the trail. They're never taking risks.
Good point.
All they're doing is just recycling content rather than trying to do anything different. They're so focused on recreating success of their past titles.
They're trying to jump on the money train. They're trying to jump on a moving money train time and time again and just hang on and get as much money as they can and get off. That's what they're doing.
Rather than trying to create. That's why we respect the companies that we do.
Well put, Legendary Drops.
Because
well put.
They still have a love for the art. Yeah. They still want to create. Excellent. Building trust with customers by consistently delivering high-quality, well-crafted games is the cornerstone upon which these game developers can confidently embark on creative and genre-defining journeys. If we're looking at a game like Armored Core 6, the only reason that FromSoft ever got me to play it is because of all of their successes with the Souls games.
Makes sense.
When developers prioritize player satisfaction and invest in refining their titles, players come to expect a certain level of excellence that's associated with that developer's name. I trust FromSoft. That trust becomes a valuable currency that allows developers to venture into niche genres and innovative concepts with very reduced apprehension from their audience. I'm more likely to play it, even though it might not be something from a genre that I would normally play. By maintaining a track record of quality and refining their skills, developers not only secure their fan base, but they're also fostering an environment where the gamers are allowed to follow them into uncharted territories, knowing that that experience is being chartered by the same dedication, the same excellence that define the works that we've all enjoyed. This symbiotic relationship between the creators and the community is what encourages the industry to continue to push forward, to continue to push its boundaries. And this is one of the reasons why we become upset with AAA games, is because they refuse to push boundaries. They refuse to take chances.
We want a gaming company to say, what do you mean you can't be done this way? Why not? What do you mean we shouldn't do it this way? Why not? You want them to come out with some kind of different experience for you, not the same old, because you play the same old time and time again, you're going to get bored. That's just, again, human nature. And how many gaming companies come out, large gaming companies come out with a game that's fine. It's fine. It's just like all their other games. It's fine. It's just like all the other games from the other developers as well. Yeah, it's a fine game. It's fine. I played it. I got some enjoyment out of it. Yeah, but that's it. That's all you get, right? That's all you get. There's no artistic integrity or endeavors there. It's just what it is.
Now, beyond the successes of Armored Core 6 and FromSoft, the one thing that I will say is I really enjoy when these companies come forward and say, you are the ones that give us this quality seal of approval. They want us to have the ability to look at the game, look at the title, look at the company that made it, and know that it's going to be a quality game, know that it's going to be a game that we enjoy, know that it's going to be a game that's worth our money. Now, the funny thing is that that's in really high contrast when we look over at the AAA industry and we look at a company like Bethesda, where Pete Hines, their head of publishing, comes out and says, we could have made a safer, less buggy, less risky game.
You could have made a less buggy game. Well, I mean, okay, if you've played their game, that's obvious. But is that really what you want somebody to say? It's great the less, the less safe, less risky, safer, less risky part. But when you say less buggy, no, 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 no. The buggy part is just the company not spending the time to get rid of the bugs. That's mainly what that is. And let's be honest, okay? I'm not going to rag on Bethesda right now, but they have a very high expectation, but does it really matter amongst the people who love them whether or not they meet it? Does it really? Because they're just fans of Bethesda and they're fans of the past. Is Starfield a great game? I'm going to say to you, to the average gamer, I'm not talking about the hardcore Bethesda fan. All right. I'm the average gamer. Would the average gamer say Starfield is a great game? I doubt it. I think you'd say it's an okay game. It was fine. I had some enjoyment out of it. Right? But when the developer says, yeah, we know it has a lot of bugs, but yeah, whatever. We put it out anyways. That's just not taking the time to polish your product. Isn't it? Can you honestly say that there's any other thing that they know it's buggy when it comes out and they don't bother to take the time to fix the bugs? And you know that they're a company that likes for the modders to fix their bugs so they don't have to. I'm just going to leave that there and walk away.
Game if we wanted to. So you're telling me that there was a universe in which I could have played Starfield where the enemies actually fought back? That sounds like a much more engaging and enjoyable experience. Too bad I didn't get to have that.
Uh-huh.
I have a Starfield video coming soon.
Oh, look forward to that.
Now, Armored Core 6 isn't the only game or only niche game that came out this year that was met with success. In fact, there was a lesser-known title, you might have heard of it, called Baldur's Gate 3 that did exceedingly well, not only with the customers, but also with the critics.
Oh, yeah.
And recently, Sven Vinke, the owner and head of Larian Studios, did a interview with D&D, and he shares some really good insights that I'm going to share with you because it shows the difference in perspective from the rest of the industry.
What were you trying to bring new to RPGs?
Oh, I wanted a AAA RPG driven by systemics that you could play in multiplayer with your friends. And it had to be a cinematic experience, and that was the big challenge here. All of the choices and consequences, that was things that we were already doing in the previous games, in the Divinity Original Sin 2 or even Original Sin 1, and even in our previous games. Never at this scale, of course, but I mean, we were doing them. And having systems interfere with story, we've started building up a lot of experience in this. But I really wanted it to be like, hey, it's going to be AAA in the way that it's going to be presented to you. And my hope was, and that's what's happening now, is that that's going to draw a new audience. People that actually don't know they like this kind of gameplay.
AAA presentation.
Turned off by all the systems and the screens, and because it's the onboarding of D&D is not an easy thing.
Now we already see the perspective shift, where AAA means something different to Larian Studios and means something different to a lot of these other companies, where it's not about the budget. It's not about the high marketing value or anything like that. It's not about the money that you pumped into it. No, it's about the presentation. Was this presented in a AAA quality way? And that's what they aim for with Baldur's Gate 3. They wanted the game to welcome players regardless if this was a genre that they were into or not. And they saw success as a result of that. And we've seen it across the board. There's tons of comments that I've seen just on my YouTube channel alone. People saying that they've never been interested in CRPGs before. However, because of the way that this game was presented, it invited people into this world and made them want to become a part of it. And as a result, Larian found success in that.
You have a background in like data and that type of stuff. You had an interest in this, when you were in college. Is this kind of like just a massive amount of data that you can kind of like? It's got to be a fun experiment to see all these different choices that all these players have done. You have this great infographic that is like, this is who's playing Paladin. This is who's been rejected by this NPC. Is that fun for you?
I actually don't look at it.
Oh, you don't?
Well, I look at it. I look at the dashboards from time to time, but we have people that look at it. But I try to not do it because otherwise it will influence the creative decisions. And I want to make sure that we keep on investing heavily in things that maybe 0.001% of the audience will see, because it is important that any journey that you take in your game is going to be equally rewarding. And if you would say, oh, 80% of the players go there and they see that, then what's going to happen is that you're going to put all your effort on the 80% experience, and you're not going to do anything or less on the 20%. And that's not what you should do when you make a game like this.
Chasing the money.
Oh,
like
God,
chasing
that
the money
is so good to hear. Oh, that is so good to hear. This is a legendary quote.
Let's try to please
Not
everybody who
paying
plays
attention
our
to the
game.
numbers because you realize that it's going to influence your creative decisions down the road. Wanting to continue to put focus on things that maybe even just 0.001% of players are going to interact with, because you want every player's experience to be valued. This is something that I can already hear. The AAA industry, yep, they're calling in. They're saying they're melting down over a quote like this.
I bet, because that's gonna to eat into their bottom line, and that's what most AAA companies care about, is the bottom line. That's it. The whole focus of their games is how can we get the most money out of the consumer. You're spending time and resources on trying to please the 0.0001% who has a certain experience, and you want their experience to be a little bit better. That's not a money-making prospect. That is, we care about the game and we care about the consumer so much we're doing this. I got chills. I wish all companies were like that. I really do.
Kotick & Co. over at Blizzard. What is this guy even talking about? Most of these companies are so involved in the numbers, so deep in the data, that they don't even understand how players even engage or enjoy games today anyway. They're looking at things going like, oh, well, you know, most players are spending a lot of time here, so that must be where they're enjoying the game the most. So we're just going to go ahead and put all of our effort and all of our time into that, rather than focusing on all of these other things that other players are enjoying as well.
That is so true.
Tell me, how does that work out for your game in the long run?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
This is so great to hear. This is so refreshing to hear somebody say something about this.
I agree.
And this just goes to show how differently they view development and how differently they view their audience. Larian Studios and From Software have exemplified a distinctive perspective when it comes to the gaming industry. One that prioritizes quality, player trust, and creative exploration over conventional metrics of the AAA landscape. By consistently delivering exceptional titles, they have cultivated unwavering trust amongst their fan bases. This trust, earned through years of dedication to crafting unforgettable gaming experiences, provides them with the unique opportunity to diversify and take risks in different niche genres. Unlike many AAA studios that often favor more formulaic approaches and are much more risk-averse, Larian and From Software's innovative look allows them to evolve and challenge the industry norms. Their willingness to embrace new ideas and venture into uncharted territories promises a future where more niche genres can thrive, ensuring the gaming industry remains dynamic and responsive to the ever-evolving tastes of players worldwide.
That's right. The more people take these kind of risks and do things differently than so many of the bigger companies are doing, the more other companies, especially little companies, obviously, will look around and say, we can do that with something else. Not the same way they're doing it. We're going to do it our way, but we're going to look at the way they did it, and we're going to say that's a good way to go about things. Let's make games that consistently get better, right? Let's try to build customer confidence. You know, let's take a risk over here. Let's take a risk over there. Let's not chase after the money. Let's chase after a great gaming experience. So that raises the bar for so many people, but most of the time, it raises the bar and the expectation for the little guys who want to do things right. It enables them to go out and keep taking risks and keep making it by doing that. Big companies, they're just going to rely on you being suckers, aren't they? Aren't they really? Aren't the big companies just relying on you being suckers? Don't they just put multiple millions and millions of dollars into marketing because they know that using marketing, they could sway you into buying the game even if it's crap? Don't they do that? Don't they do that? I think they do.
And at the end of all of this is exactly where I see the separation. It's the refusal to be dynamic. And I think that's the reason why a lot of gamers have been just kind of down on the industry, especially down with AAA over the last few years. And it's mostly because of the fact everything just starts to feel really samey. Nobody's taking any risks. Nobody's doing anything different. The reason why they're not is because they can't afford to, because they know that we can't trust them. And the only
So Diablo 4. I got friends playing Diablo 4. I don't play it. and I've now played the Diablo franchise. I was hyped about Diablo 4 before it came out because I saw some of the trailers and the cinematics for it. Looked really, really cool. But what I've seen of the gameplay after, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't match what I saw before the game came out. It doesn't look like that, so I don't want to play it. But people play it, people enjoy it, but I know people who play it and they played the franchise, and their experience is, I gotta hop in and do some more grinding away on this game. Oh man, I really hate doing this. Why are you playing a game you hate to play? Because you put so much time into it, you feel like you're beholden to it and you have to keep up with it. Because why? Not because it's a good game, not because it's enjoyable to play, but something else. Because this game is the same as all the other Diablos for the most part. Because you put time into that franchise, you're now a fan of the franchise, even though when you play the games, you really hate them after a while. Because they're all the same. Am I wrong, Diablo fans? When you really think about it, am I wrong? I would say a lot of you probably would be willing to say I'm right.
Thing that they can do to trust themselves is just to continue to recycle the same stuff over and over again. Pay attention to the numbers and pay attention to the data. Meanwhile, you have companies like Larian and From Software who are releasing quality products, building a solid fan base, and allowing themselves to be able to take other risks, try different genres, try different things.
Yep.
This is the one thing that I'm really hoping that after this year of having these really good, more niche games get popular, ends up carrying on. I want to see more companies take risks. I want to see more diverse games out there. I want to play different things because my tastes, just as well as yours, evolve over time. I used to be nothing but into first-person shooters. Now I barely even play them. We all change, and the industry needs to change with it.
Yep.
Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the article and the interview and stuff. To be honest with you, if you guys get the chance to, go watch the rest of that Larian interview with Sven Vinke. That was absolutely awesome. There's a ton of other really good quotes that I'm probably going to use in other stuff in the future. But
so thank you to Legendary Drops for putting this out. I really enjoyed watching this video, and I agree with almost everything he has to say, other than his views on the Metacritic stuff not really mattering. I think, maybe obviously for him, it doesn't matter. He will choose to buy a game, whether, he'll choose to buy and play a game regardless of any of that stuff and doesn't pay attention. A lot of people do pay attention to that. Again, I think a lot of it is because money is tight nowadays for a lot of people, and games are not inexpensive. And so we really want to pick and choose very carefully which games we get. We can't buy them all. A lot of us just can't buy them all. So that's the way it is. And we need to make some kind of informed choice. And so we will go to Metacritic scores and reviews and different things and look at these. But anyways, what have you thought about risk-taking in gaming? Some of you are going to like this opinion. Some of you aren't, and that's fine. Everybody is allowed a differing opinion on this, but I hope you like to look at what Legendary Drops had to say about it, and hopefully you enjoyed my little musings on it as well. So for Miss Valley Entertainment News, my name is Dread. Catch y'all later. Bye-bye.